In a previous video, I gave you an overview of the Oracle Intelligence Bot custom component architecture. Now in this video, we will have a look at how this all looks in code. Welcome, my name is Frank Nymphius and I'm from the Oracle Mobile Platform team. And with no further ado, let's go right in. Don't know how you feel about Hello World. Personally, I think that's exactly the sample that we should build as our first custom component. To share my personal experience, custom component development becomes easier if based on the Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise custom code starter application that you can download from the Oracle Technology Network or your Oracle Intelligent Bots instance. The starter application provides a copy of the SDK, the shell, the registry file as well, and also it comes with a sample code for implementing custom component services. And because I like easy, for this video we will use that template. So here's our to-do list. First off, we need to download the Mobile Cloud Enterprise starter application, which in the interest of time for this video I already did. And then we create the Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise Custom API as the component service. And next, we need to add the SDK to our project. Then we develop the custom component, and finally we deploy our component and register this with Oracle Intelligent Bots. Now, and with this, let's start our development journey with creating the component service. Here we are in Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise, and we're building a custom API because component services, as I mentioned, are just ordinary or normal custom APIs in Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise. So I click on a new API and the API section here. Now I could create it from scratch using this dialog, but since I downloaded the Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise Custom Component Starter application, I do have a RAML file for it. And the RAML file is a metadata file that describes my component service. And I go to MCE bots RAML in my starter component application and click open. And this now imports all of the definitions. All I have to do now is to create a good name for my component service, Hello World, and I like to put CCS at the end or the beginning of the naming so that in the list of custom APIs I can clearly see what is a component service and what maybe is a shared component API. So I provide a name, a description, my first component service. You also see that this here, the Hello World CCS, actually also becomes the API name that is used here at the end. And just to remind you that custom APIs are called as a REST service, so this really matters. Okay, so now I'm clicking create. I go to security, and what I do is I disable a named login option because my custom component service is called from a bot, and the bot is fine and happy to use anonymous authentication. So I save my work, and then when I scroll down here, I go to the implementation option, and here I now have the option to download a scaffold, so that's kind of a starter project to build my custom component service. I can push it to a Git repository, or what I prefer doing for this video is just download a zip file with it. And that's it. Now I can go to my file system, unzip it, and start developing. What we see here is the unzipped content of the implementation that I downloaded. So I did this in advance to save some time here. And what we see is a full project that has a JavaScript file, which is Hello World CCS. And we do have configuration files that now we need to work with. I also put on a separate folder the downloaded starter application. There are some files that I want to add into my project. And I do this on the file system, first of all, because I'm used to it, and second, it's probably the fastest way of doing things. So first, I like to have my components in a JavaScript folder, so I call it JS. Within this folder, I like to have a components folder. And in this folder, that's now personal preference, you can have subfolders that indicate the component responsibility or functionality, in this case hello world. And here we would put our JavaScript file for the component. So switching back here, we need to have the SDK, we need to have the shell, and we want to have the registry. So let me grab these and we copy it over, and this goes into my JavaScript folder. So now I have this, and next is to go and grab from the example a starter component. So go to my hello world, JavaScript component, hello world, and it goes in here. So let's rename it to hello world, and this is it. So we will need to make use out of more information in this starter package, but I'm now opening my development environment of choice, which is Atom as a JavaScript editor. You can use whatever you want and pretty much do what I will show you next. And here I'm in the Atom JavaScript editor, and I have two folders displayed on the left hand side. So this is the project I'm going to build, my Hello World custom component service, and this is the start application that I downloaded. First thing I need to do is I need to edit the package.json file, and this file, as I showed you, is contained within the download. And what Node wants me to do is it wants me to add a 3-digit version. Second, I need to look into the package.json file of the start application, because the SDK that comes with it has a dependency to two Node modules that I need to install, and the way to do it is copy and paste and put that into my package.json file. And I'll show you later how then you install. Next is I need to look at my custom component, and again I got a little bit of a head start. And this is the file that I copied from the start application, and to my benefit this already is hello world. Kind of a coincidence here, but you can imagine that coding hello world is not so difficult. So what it does is it has a conversation reference to the SDK, and simply what it does is it just calls hello and then the name. So the rest here, that's what we don't need, so I delete that. I save the file. Here is the metadata section, so this is where the component introduces itself to the bot. So I rename the name because I like it to be hello world and prefix so that it has a more unique naming. I'm happy with the property, so name as a property is okay. So this is where the bot passes my name in the end to the custom component. And then the invoke is what will be called to, in the end, print the message. So I've done this, saving that file. Next step for me is, and I can close this one here, is to go to the registry. The registry knows about all of the components, and because we got our registry from an existing example, all I need to do is to change the name here and then give it a different path. Now my component is relative to the registry file, so it's in components, hello world, and then the file name is hello world as well. So what we do is we go here and simply edit and call this components, and then hello world, and you see how this folder structure that I've chosen really simplifies to have one component service hosting multiple custom components here. So hello world, and then the name of the file is hello world as well. Hello world. Alright. Oops, not CSS, just hello world. You don't need to have the .js because that's what Node will automatically append. So what if you have a second component that is hosted? Say that you have another subfolder for a component. Then all that you actually do is you would just copy this, create a second line, copy this in, change this name and the location of the component. As easy as that. I only have one, so I undo this and again save the file. So next is that I need to look into my component service, and if I go to my package.json file, it shows some information about it. So the main definition or the main file, whenever this custom component service is called, will be hello world CCS. This is what I built, and if I click on this file, then what we see is that it has some generated code in it. This is based on the RAML file that we uploaded as a custom API. It doesn't do anything useful right now, and to be honest, the only thing that I really need is this string here, because this is the custom API reference. So I will take a copy and just temporarily put it up in here, and then I can completely forget about it, so I no longer need this. So what I can do is I can grab this here, go down here and delete. And the reason is because the example application has exactly the same file, just with a different name, which is called the MCE bots. And this code is very generic, so there's no big difference in the code other than the URI that I took a note of. So I can now take this one here, and actually I have to take it from higher because it defines a constant and then a reference to the shell. So I copy the whole custom component that comes with the start application and go to my component service here and just paste it up here. Now let me explain how it works. First of all, this is a constant, and this references the URI, and this is the reason why I took a note of mine, because that's the only difference between my file and the template file. So I can copy and paste this, and then it has a require call to the shell object. So the shell object in my case actually doesn't sit within the same directory as the hello world CCS is in the JS subdirectory, so I have to put that in as well. So now it finds the shell object, and with this shell reference now it's able to respond to the GET and to the POST request coming from the bot. And these will use my custom API reference that I specified here as a constant. And that's all that we have to do, so just making sure we save all of the files. And in the next step now, we go to the terminal window, and on the terminal we will do the import of the dependent files as specified here in the package.json. So back on the file system, I opened a terminal window and navigate now to my hello world CCS folder. So I just drag this in. So this will bring me to the path. And now all I need to do to install the dependencies is to put in npm install. This now looks into the package.json file, finds the dependencies and installs the dependencies. Okay, that's it. That was successful. And we see in my file system structure there's a node module folder, and that has now all of the dependencies imported. So the last step for me to deploy my custom component service is to zip it up. Right mouse, compress, and that's it. Now, and this is what I need to take and to import as my implementation archive. And here we are back in our Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise environment, exactly where we left it. And you can see here at the bottom the indication of the downloaded zip file, which is a starter scaffold, which meanwhile we edited to be a real custom component service that now we want to import. So I'm closing this one here, and you can see here's a link to upload an implementation archive. So I click on this, go to my Hello World folder, and just grab the zip file in here, and this uploads the folder. So once it's uploaded, I see the name of my component here. I also see the version number here, and if I wanted, I could test at least the get method in this environment. However, there's one step to do, which I will do next, which is that we have to create a mobile backend, because custom APIs are exposed through a mobile backend, and that's what I'm showing you next. Here I'm in the Oracle mobile backend environment, and I did not include the navigation in Mobile Cloud Enterprise to this area in my video, just to shorten the video a bit. To create a new mobile backend, well, you have guessed it, I just click the new mobile backend button and I give it a name, so like hello world custom component service, and I can provide a description. In this case, I like to go without. So the mobile backend is a container that I can use to expose my custom API. So if I go to APIs, then what we see is that I can either create a new API or I can select an API. So in this case, I want to select an API, and the API name that I want to select was hello world CC. So I just click on this and go back to my mobile backend, and now with all set, that means we can now go to the bot and have a look on how to register the component in the Oracle Intelligent Bot. Here we are in the Oracle Intelligent Bots environment within Oracle Mobile Cloud Enterprise. I did create a Hello World bot service, and when we look into the dialog flow, we see it has a name and then a variable defined for where the text input component, which sits here, actually puts the name once I provide the name. Now below, I want to place my custom component to return the greeting. And first off, what I need to do is I need to register my custom component service, and this is what I do with this little icon here. Clicking on that, creating a new service, and then giving it a name. So how about hello world component service. So you see it's a long name, but you know what, I'm German, so we're allowed to do that. And now we need to provide 3 information. 2 are relevant for the authentication, and 1 is to find the custom component service. First off, I click on use anonymous access because I enabled my custom API to support anonymous login. So backend ID is the first one to look up, and in your mobile backend, under settings, you find the mobile backend ID that you just copy and paste in. This will end up as a header parameter with a request. Next is the anonymous key, which is here. If this is hidden for you, like here, click on the show and again copy and paste. Alright, so the metadata URL. So this is the URL that actually points to the component's endpoint. So for the bot at design time to introspect the component service to learn about the hosted components. For this, we need to go to the custom API, and again, from your mobile backend, you select APIs. This shows the custom component service that you just created. You click on edit, and then in the general section, you find the component URL. So I copy this, and now I paste it in here, but pay attention that it needs to be appended with components, because components is the endpoint. And if you're following using the template that I used for building the custom component, then it will always be components. Okay, so let's create it. Alright, so that was successful. So we see the component in here, and when I click on this arrow here, we will see the component. And if I had more components hosted in the component service, they would be all listed up here. So clicking on the component shows the component name, of course, and the properties that it supports. So in this case, there's one property called name. if it would support any action string, it would be returned here as well. So I copy this one here and go back to my dialog flow. Now what I need to do is I need to create a new state, and let's call this state, say, hello. Then for this state I will have a component. Put that in here. This component has properties. And this property is name. Then I want to transitions, and this should finish the dialog flow. So I do a return and I do a done in here. Okay, so the property will get the name from the variable called name in here. Yeah, as I mentioned, the text component fills whatever I put into this variable. So to do this, I use the $sign, I use curly braces, and then I use the name and value. So first thing I could do is I can hit validate. No problems, that's good. Now let's try and run it. Put in hi. What's my name? Easy question. And here's the response from my custom component. So we did an end-to-end example here where we started building the custom API, where we actually then downloaded the scaffold, where we used the custom component start application that is provided by Oracle to save us a lot of work, re-uploaded it, registered the component, and run it. So the full cycle within a couple of minutes. And with this, you're all set to start building your own custom component for your own use case. I hope you enjoyed this programming journey and stay tuned for the next video.